Hi, this is Don Farber with VineyardSoft Corporation, and I'd like to welcome you to this training session on the KnowledgeSync solution. The topic for this session will be the configuration of an event's actions or workflow. This is the third of 5 training sessions on all of the available action workflow settings for an event. In this training session, we'll specifically address the ability to associate an executable program with an event, thus allowing that program to run when the event's conditions are met. Now we're going to continue working in our ERP application, and we're going to focus on an event that identifies and responds to invoices that are overdue for payment. And so let's first stop on the Queries tab of this event. The query associated with this event not only identifies the underlying business conditions that we want this event to check for, the query also identifies those data fields that we might wish to put into our outgoing alert messages, as well as those data fields that we can pass into the executable programs that this event is going to run. And so let's jump over to the Actions tab of this event and specifically go to the Run Program tab. Now when you have a program associated with an event, typically you're going to want that program to execute once for each record that meets the event's criteria. Thus, in the case of this event, if we find that there are 10 invoices that are overdue for payment, we would want our associated program to run 10 times, once for each overdue invoice. As such, it is essential that an event that has an associated action, such as this program, this event must not also include the commands begin repeat and end repeat. Those commands are typically found in the alert messages that are associated with an event. Those are the email, fax, page, webcast, and IM or instant message tabs of an event. For if an event does make use of the commands begin repeat and end repeat, KnowledgeSync loses the ability to execute your program once for each record that meets the event's criteria. So now let's talk about those programs. You are able to associate one or more executable programs with an event. You can specify both the name of the program and the location of that executable file. Do note that when you reference the location of that file, you must not use mapped drives, as KnowledgeSync is unable to decipher mapped drives, and thus you are required to use UNC format instead of referencing a mapped drive. Now the checkbox titled Allow Multiple Tasks allows you to control the amount of system resources that are given to the running of this external program, as some external programs can take a lot of system resources. For example, if this event finds that there are 10 overdue invoices, KnowledgeSync could potentially run up 10 versions simultaneously of this external program. However, by leaving the Allow Multiple Tasks checkbox unchecked, KnowledgeSync is only going to run up one iteration of this program at a time for each record that meets this event's criteria. Finally, let's move ahead to the field called Command Line Parameters, as you have the ability to pass information from the records that meet this event's criteria into the executable program that you are running. These are typically referred to as command line parameters, such as P1, P2, P3, and beyond. So, from the list of available values that you see at the top of the Run Program tab, you can choose to use any of the fields of information that were retrieved by this event's query and pass them into the corresponding program as command line parameters. In our case, the value of the P1 parameter is always going to contain the customer number associated with the overdue invoice. P2 is going to contain the invoice number, and P3 will contain the invoice balance. Now, Before we wrap up this training session, there's one last note about configuring an event's actions, such as running an executable program. And that is that you need to make sure that in KnowledgeSync, the action server has been enabled to run, as the KnowledgeSync Windows service itself consists of a number of individual server processes that perform different functions within the KnowledgeSync application. The server referred to as the action server is the one that runs executable programs as well as SQL statements, stored procedures, etc. So do go into the KnowledgeSync Administrator module and make sure that that action server has been enabled for running. Okay, so that wraps up this training session on the configuration of KnowledgeSync events to automatically execute one or more programs as a result of the event's conditions being met. So with that, I'll thank you very much for your time and attention today, and I look forward to speaking with you in a future KnowledgeSync training session. Thanks very much.